Hi, I'm Michael Quinn. I'm the US lead for the stable. The questions facing CEOs today can't always be answered internally. In fact, the most innovative solutions are likely happening outside your walls. Now, that's no slight on any one organization because the best leaders know they have to lean on learning from every organization in every industry. The Stable by Elevation Barn is a consultancy that brings diverse, seasoned, executive level knowledge to solve specific challenges, the ambiguous, the urgent, the grand challenges facing business and philanthropic leaders today. By engaging cross-sector, industry-wide experts from the Elevation Barn community, we're harnessing the communal wisdom and agility of decades of high-powered, high-pressure experience. You won't find these leaders together anywhere else. For peers like you with existential business challenges, we curate a team of these experts, all with different but relevant experience, coming together in a culture of collaboration and support, solving together with a single goal in mind, yours. This video is a rare window into our process and the caliber of talent we bring to bear on critical challenges. Thank you. Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining our roundtable today about entrepreneurship, specifically your number one example of an entrepreneurial risk you took and your insight from the experience for the readers of CEO. Let me start by introducing each of you. Neil Thomas is the founding director of Atelier One Structural Engineers, who have been described as the most innovative engineers in the UK. He was part of the design team that won World Building of the Year for Gardens by the Bay in Singapore. And last year, he won the Supreme Award for the Arc at Green School in Bali. Simon Pestridge, a former amateur athlete, is also a leader with 25 years of experience driving complex turnarounds, building brand equity, and innovating consumer engagement models to grow business value and return for shareholders. Alexandra Smart is a highly respected and creative business leader, strategist, entrepreneur, and consultant with over 30 years of experience in hyper-competitive industries. She has been involved in several startups, the most well-known being her fashion and accessories brand called Ginger and Smart. She sold the business in 2022 and is now a partner in an executive coaching business and is also a founder of a climate tech startup exploring ways to turn food waste into biofiber. Drew Mel is the founder and CEO of Fireside Digital, which he's run for the last 16 years, working with companies like the Los Angeles Chargers, Mudwater, Home Depot, and helping with their digital strategy. Natalia Vega is founder of New Zero World, a strategic UN advisor, a global leader in climate communications with over 25 years of experience in creative development and production of content and campaigns to influence culture and drive positive change. Thank you all for joining us. Neil, maybe we can ask you to start us off with your number one example of an entrepreneurial risk you took and your insights from the experience.
I was at university in England, in Leeds, the north of England, studying both architecture and engineering, and finished my degree, and I started to look for jobs. So I went back to Bureau Happold in Leeds and I said, I want to work with you. And they said, we don't have any jobs. And I said, I don't care. I'm going to wait. And I used to go back round and go and see the guy, make coffee for him. And eventually, I reckon I wore him down. And he offered me a job. I stayed for 6 years. And it was the best thing that I ever did. And a lesson that I learned was, if you want something, go for it. And fight tooth and nail to get it. And that, for me, is a lesson that stood by me the whole way through my career.
I think a lot of people look at my career journey and go, okay, 23 years at Nike, and then you end up at a place called Potato Head, one hotel in Bali. What's all that about? And when I got here, I actually visited Potato Head before I joined, and there was a feeling that I just couldn't quite put into words. And when they spoke to me about joining, I was like, yeah, I'll give this a go. I came with a couple of suitcases, stayed in the hotel for 6 months, but the founder, who is an unbelievable entrepreneur, knew what he wanted to do and where he wanted to go. He just needed help getting there. And so when you look at the formula, I'm a very simple person. Like, there's a formula to building brands. And to me, I just say it like, you've got to have amazing product that exceeds expectations. You've got to have a community of people that advocate for that product, give feedback on that product and tell your story for you. And then you have to really tell your story. Whilst we don't have all the answers, we try and set ourselves up as a hotel, beach club and resort that delivers amazing good times and experiences, but we try to show people that those good times are made better when you actually do good. We can do it for ourselves, but what if we created a landfill site where all of our competition could actually bring their waste and we could get them to 97% zero waste to landfill? That isn't about marketing. It's not about short-term revenue. It's about doing the right thing, creating the right product, and getting a community on board and taking that risk, because internally people don't want to spend money on that. But we know it's absolutely the right thing because it's going to set us up for business in 10 or 15 years' time. Stay true to who you are, stay true to what made you great in the first place, and then just go for it.
20 years goes really fast when you are in a business that you truly love and you're truly passionate about. And I think that's the absolute prerequisite for any entrepreneur, because that's the thing that gets you over the ups and downs, the inevitable ups and downs, but especially the downs through any business journey. The other thing that I've really learned with the benefit of hindsight is to play to your strengths in an entrepreneurial journey, because you can't do everything, although you may think that you can, and maybe I did. And so with the benefit of hindsight, I think bringing good people in around you to help the business grow and to do the things that you're not so good at is incredibly important, because you need to keep your head in strategy and not in implementation. If I had thought too hard and long and done a lot of research and, kind of navel-gazed for too long, I never would have done it. And so there is something about being brave and taking risks and just getting started.
I knew more in the few months of being an entrepreneur than I ever did in any of my business classes at university. And I'm a venture capitalist as well, and I invest in a lot of different deals. And, I talk to these young entrepreneurs and they're like, I'm not closing any sales. And I'm like, well, how many, cold calls have you met, or how many prospects have you, talking to? And they're like, well, 5 or, 10 or a small handful. And they've read every book though, and they've read all the blogs, but they're not going out there and prioritizing that action to start to build, kind of momentum. And, I think that quote that always stands out is like, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. But I think if you get too much in your comfort zone and you get too scared and you don't prioritize that action, there's things that just as much on one side you have incredible momentum building, on the other it can stall. And I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs unfortunately fail because of that stalling, because of that fear, because of that anxiety. And so, for me, I continue. I've now done this for 16 years, and I always try and sell the bigger client, sell the bigger project, hire that employee that's going to stretch you, and prioritizing that action because I know I will learn. I know I'm going to improve and get better, and that growth that I've been able to develop both as a business owner, but also too personally. It's made me really to who I am today, and I'm incredibly thankful for that.
Either you work for a not-for-profit or for-profit, the challenges are the same, the risks are the same, the responsibilities are really greater. But, as magic follows, I was invited to speak at the United Nations to talk about creativity for good. I was very outspoken. I was the direction about how we can harness the power of my skills, what I learned in the industry for so many times, into a good causes. And in that speech, I, was reached out by the head of partnerships, and she said, we need people like you right now urgently, because the next years are going to change the world. And I was like, what's going to happen? And well, first one, the Sustainable Development Goals are going to happen in the next 2 years, and we need someone who can help us build a bridge for the campaigning so the people are aware of that. And the most important thing is like the United Nations is hoping to have a first-time global climate agreement, which now is the Paris Agreement. It was a huge responsibility. So at the end, we created with the team of the Secretary General a whole moment to bring, for the first time, the human component, the human voice of a, indigenous from an island to speak about what it is to really be, suffering from the direct damage of climate change. I think what I learned is to bring the skills of the people and try to build community so then we can all go faster together, activating the superpowers of others, and we can just go faster and better. So just bold decisions and kind of like carry your purpose.
For the CEO who is running either an entrepreneurial company or one that is not at all entrepreneurial and wondering what what your advice might be in solving unmet needs.
If you can bring something that actually doesn't compromise needs, but actually exceeds the expectations, then you can propel change even faster. And change doesn't have to be a massive step. It can actually be a really small step done by thousands and thousands of people, which creates a wave of change. And so I think breaking it down and making sure you're not asking humans to do too much, that you're actually showing them a better option versus a compromise, will help us to accelerate the change that's needed.
For the CEO that is looking to innovate within an organization, I think that what I've learned is to try to walk the tightrope between creativity, so that might be innovation, and commercial reality. And that is the CEO's role, right? Is to foster one, not at the behest of the other. And so every day, even, I was looking at, are we leaning too far in one direction or in the other? Because if we leaned too far into commerciality, we lost our magic edge and we lost our customers. And if we led too far into the other side of the creative world, the business fell over. So it's the real risk in all of this, actually.
Know your limits, and then go and find the experts, and then be flexible and malleable and move and change with. And you've got to be open to change and recognize those changes coming and work with and move with them.
A lot of the CEOs that we work with, I find the ones that are growing the most are the ones that have the deepest connection to their customers. They're not dealing in spreadsheets and looking at, ones and zeros, but actually, having that heart-centered kind of approach to meet them where they are, speaking to the customers, looking at what's going on, what are those core challenges? Because I think the more you remove yourself, from that customer relationship, the more you lose touch with, kind of that heart of the business and the ultimate vision and why you started that in the first place. And I see, if you don't have that qualitative, kind of approach and put systems in place to really, have that deeper connection, how are you even going to solve for the need, kind of in the future? And a lot of times they'll tell you, and that should help, direct product strategy and the roadmap and so many aspects of your business, hearing directly from them.
One of the things that I really think about in the work that I'm doing currently is trying to avoid reinventing the wheel, and trying to find, other resources in which you can utilize space, solve problems. Especially in the space that we work, in terms of environmental challenges or climate community or global policy, is this constant effort and unsustainable reinvention of the wheel. There are many people doing the same thing instead of trying to find authentic and real collaboration. So that is something that I've been trying to identify a lot. It's how that intersects in a way that work both ways and what really collaboration means. In general for business as well, that's something that I think it's very interesting, whether, of course, for an entrepreneur, for a not-for-profit, or for anybody in general.
I think the biggest challenge for CEOs is not your competition, but it's actually your own ego. And I think you see where people fail is where ego takes over. And not to be cliche, but I read a quote in a book, "Ego is the enemy," which always stays with me in every conversation I have, which is there are two types of people in the world: people that want to be and people that want to do. And the people that make the real difference and stand the test of time and are CEOs for decades are the people that want to do. The people that want to be just rise to the top and fall. And I think I think Alexandra said it, I think Drew said it, you've got to hire a team of thoroughbreds, hold on for dear life, just point them in the right direction every now and again. And then everything that everyone's talked about comes true.
If you have a pressing need or know of a leader or organization who does, The Stable is ready to be challenged. To learn more or to contact us, visit thestablebyeb.com. Thank you.